everybody, and welcome to the fun home. So I'm going to show you guys how to apply water slide and then paint on top of it. So I attempted to do a live with this video, but I have such horrible internet that I aborted and finished it, and then I'm going to record it and put it on there on YouTube. So I just want to say that we have a group on Facebook called The Fun Home. You guys are welcome to join, meet some great people, and we'll talk just a second about Waterslide. I actually printed on white Waterslide. They make white and they also make clear. It really, if you wanted to use clear on a painted cup, that's probably the way to go. But the clear that I had was actually laser, and I loaned someone my laser printer, so I printed it on white. And since we're going to paint around the edges, it really doesn't matter for this. It's if you were going to apply it to other things that it would matter. So you use white if you have a dark background, and you have to make sure that you cut exact to the item, or else white will show. If you had clear and I slide this on to this, all of this would show through the image. So that's what you have to keep in mind. And so you just print it out. Here's something else I did, and then you cut it out. Some people have machines that will cut it out, or you can use scissors, which is what I used. And then the instructions say to apply, I think, 3 light coats. I actually apply 4 or 5 light coats, even 6 sometimes. It just depends. You can use any clear gloss spray. I have used flat. It does not work as well. Gloss tends to work better. The more coats you give it, the more stability you give to the paper, because it's just a very, very thin sheet. It's got a backing on it, and that's what we're going to remove. So I just, like I said, I do a minimum of 4, and I find a little bit of warmer water works best. I think they say to use room temperature water. Whatever works for you is fine. Like I said, it's not so hot, but a little warm. So you just take your image once it's dry. I spray it with clear spray. Wait about 10 to 15 minutes. You can tell that the sheen is kind of dried. Spray it again. Wait 10 or 15 minutes, and I'll repeat that process, like I said, 4 or 5 times. And then once it's completely dry, you cut your image out. The paper is size A4 for those of us in the US. It's not a standard letter size, so you just need to change your printer. And you will need to work with your settings. My printer has a other specialty paper setting, and I either use it or cardstock to print. And so if you print and it doesn't give you the image that you want, just try a different setting. I tell everybody, when you first get your Waterslide paper, take a small image and print it, and write the setting when it prints. Write the setting underneath the image on the paper, and then move the image over, run that paper back through on a different setting, and do that for all the settings on your printer. And the reason I say write your settings is because if you start doing it, you'll never remember what setting goes to what. And then when it comes out, you look and see which one has the most, and then make yourself a little note that this is the setting you use for Waterslide. So you just let this soak for a few minutes, and what I'm trying to do is the back will slide away. So you sort of grab the front and the back and sort of move it around a little bit, and if it doesn't give, you just put it back in the water. Once it actually is ready to be released, it will easily release itself. So I can show you this bottom part is ready. So if you look, I can actually lift the 2 layers. They sort of slide out. That's why it's called water slide. The water is what's making it slide. Okay, so it's ready to go. So I like to, first let's find where we're going to put it on the cup. And I use chalk paint to paint this. I did record it. I don't know if it will upload or not, since it was having some internet issues. So I look and see where I'm actually going to put the image. And then I take it and just use the back of it to apply water. Or you could just dip it in the water, because you want the cup itself to be wet. And then I'm not sliding it off just yet, because I'm trying to work on my placement. I'm trying to get as close up here as I can for you guys. So that looks, although I know I want it to go more over here. So let me wet this side, sorry. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So I am going to make sure that it's wet right here and then sort of slide my paper over, and it's just maybe 1/4 of an inch off of the backing here. I'm going to use my finger to make sure all the edges are down. And then so you can see this line right here is the paper underneath, and I'm just making sure this is down. Then I'm going to use my hand to hold this part and slowly edge the backing off of it. So you just sort of rock it a little bit, maybe another 1/4 of an inch, and then I'm going to press down. This helps with bubbles, and so having your cup wet also helps to not have bubbles. So I'll slide another little bit, run my finger up and down, and having those 4 coats of clear allows me to use this, because if you don't have a good 4 coats on here, it will start ripping on you, and it's very hard to fix once you rip it. So once I see that it's going on good, I just pull the whole thing off, and I'm going to slide my hand across, and then I'm going to get rid of my water because I am very messy and I don't want to drop anything. And then I take a paper towel and I fold it over, and now you want to very lightly just go over the image because you're just trying to remove the air bubbles. Okay. Should you have, I don't have any bubbles, but should you have a big bubble, the easiest thing to do is you can lift the paper up, we read it, and sort of slide it down. The easiest thing though is if you have a small bubble is to take a pin and prick it and then drip some water over the top. You're trying to get water underneath the bubble, and then use your fingers to slightly push down around it, and that will generally pop the bubble. Alright, so that's it. And if you guys can see, this is white Waterslide, so it's not showing through my image. And if I had, I don't know, let's see. Oh, for instance, this. Okay, so if I had this and I didn't cut exact to the circle, when I put it on my cup, all these white areas are going to show. So clear Waterslide, I could put these extra little pieces because it will just blend into the background. White, it matters, but white is much better, as you can see, if you're putting it on a dark cup or a painted cup. So now I'm just going to start painting our cup. So let me see if I can. I feel like you guys should be closer. Okay, that'll work. So as long as I don't know the correct parts of a rooster, so I'm just gonna call it what I call it. You guys can correct me later. My husband actually had roosters and chickens, but we got rid of them. They're very messy. Well, we didn't have a choice but to get rid of them. The raccoons came along and got them one day, but that's a different story for a different day. So I just put out some colors. So this is, and these are just cheap acrylics. And the reason I'm using acrylics is because I chose an image that had shading. So I'm going to let it do all my shadows and everything. And if I was to use chalk paint, which is what I use to paint the back of the cup, it would hide all of these. And so like his beak, even though I painted it just that golden yellow color, all the other colors show up. So this area tends to be red. All along his eye will be red. Down here will be red. So I'm going to start, I just have 2 different shades of red. I'm just going to start painting it in. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And because I have white Waterslide, I have a little white edge to it, so I just make sure to run whatever color I'm at on the edge all the way to the edge. For instance, the yellow, I went to the edge with the yellow. Okay. So we're gonna just leave that alone for now. And then the red does extend up and we'll come back. And all I'm doing is just making little sort of slash marks so that it looks like feathers onto the area. And right here on his nostril. And then I have a deeper red that I'm going to go on the bottom with. Especially this area here because this one is darker. I'm going to use my darker red. Now you can mix a tiny bit of black into your red and it will make that red darker so that it will shadow. Okay, now I'm just going to fill it in. And fill in this area. This area here tends to be a little pinker. So I'll just add some white to a little bit of red, blend it together, and just fill this area in with it. And then right here, by its nostrils, I'll do the same thing. Just a lighter pink, and then around the beak area. It's very subtle, but it does help. And then I'll go back to the red. And again, I'm just making little hash strokes, especially around the eye. Now, to differentiate between the two areas, I got a darker red, and like I said, I'm going to take a little dab of red and a tiny amount of black. And blend them together. And then I'll use it just to make little hashtags right those two areas meet. And the beauty of using this graphic is that you can already see where the shading takes place. Okay, so the red will follow down here and there, and we'll come back later. I'm just literally cleaning most of it off of my brush at this point because we can always come back. And I'm going to get another brush and pick up that golden yellow, and then I'm literally just going to make slash marks. And I'm making sure that I go off of the Waterslide so that it blends. Come down here, and it may look like nothing now, but it will all start to blend. So I'm going to get a creamy color, a creamy browny color, and do the same thing. It's this buildup of layers of these slashes that will start to form and look like feathers. Okay, and then I want to just say this, that right here to differentiate, because this will be a little bit lighter. These will be darker. So what I want to do is to start down here and make this dark, so as I fill in on the top, those lighter strokes will cover these. Alright, I actually have blue, a darker blue, I have a lighter blue, and I'm just making slash marks like I said. It will all come together. These feathers are a little bit bigger than the top feathers, so I'm just using a little bit of a wider brush. And again, I'm extending it off the paper so that we get it all blended. And then I'm going to take a little bit of black mixed with a little bit of brown. You have to use black very sparingly because it will overtake. You're just using it to darken. And then I'm going to make some feathers a little darker. And then I'm going to take that golden yellow. And if you notice, I'm really not cleaning my brush because it's okay that they get a little muddled at this point, because once it starts to dry, we'll go back over it. I'm just making sure to try to cover my edge so that the water slide paper blends. Okay. Now let's see. Let's get a sort of a baby blue color. Come in here. And this blue, when it hits some of that yellow, tends to turn a little bit green, and it actually makes a really cool effect. So I'm gonna get some more yellow. And it's just the buildup of layers that will cause it to look. Some of them are shorter, some of them are longer, but I'm just trying to lay the base of it down. Okay, now I got a thinner brush, and I want to bring in some, I'm actually just going to use like an ivory. I'm not opposed to using pure white, but it's so stark against this that I think the ivory will work better. And again, I'm just making some brush strokes and going in this direction, because this is usually where the wing will be, is in this area right here. So actually, let's see what white does. My colors are so wet that it's hard to have pure white. Okay, so let's go back to the top now. So I'm going to take some of that off white, and I'm just going to, here and there, draw some feathers. And like I said, you want to make sure you're just going to build the layers up to hide your water slide paper, and they will eventually hide. We'll just have to do several layers. Got some green, why not, right? I do want to put a little more red in, because the red, like I said, they tend to have a few red feathers up until this spot right here. And I'm going to bring this blue in. And you could stop right there, you guys, but I'm going to keep going. I'm not 100% happy with how it looks. But this works great, as you can see, if you have no painting ability. I just Googled a black and white rooster image and printed it on the Waterslide. Let's see if we can get some of this green in here. Really think I want a lot of this. I like this golden color. So I want to bring it in as well. And all I keep doing is just different short strokes, long strokes. My Waterslide actually has a bubble right there. I got it out. Okay, I think I want some more of this blue down here. How easy is that? Okay, so we'll go back to the top again. So now I have this and I want the top to sort of blend with it. So I'm just going to grab different colors and start following the way the feathers would go. Use a little more of this yellow. For me, it's just easier to go from the inside out as opposed to going this way. All right, let's mix some brown with some yellow and see what we can get there. And we'll start here. Some down here. And if it starts getting a little too muddy on you, meaning all your colors are starting to blend, just stop, let it dry, and once it's completely dry, then you can start adding more colors to it. So I actually think it's looking really good. Alright, I do want to try and get some of this darker blue. Just occasionally right here, so that it's definitive on the feathers. I don't want a lot. But just enough so that it looks like an underlayment of feathers. Some people are like, you make it look so easy. It is that easy. It really is. Like, there's no mistakes. Even I do things and I don't like them, and I just paint over it. Just gotta have no fear. Like, I really don't know why, but I don't like his top. I think I want some blue is the problem. Yeah, that's what it is. take blue if we can get some of it. Okay, now for the eye, I will go and get white, and I'm just going to go around the inside of the eye. And then that little dot as well. And then I'm going to get some of that yellow and do right around the back side of the eye. Why not? We'll go across the front as well. Alright, I'm liking that. And now I'm going to shade in some of this red. Darker red. And again, I'm just using little hashtags so that they look like feathers. And down here, just sort of following that line. And then on the back side, it's going to be darker. Up some more red because I got a lot of dark in there. All right. And then I'm going to clean off my brush. I'll pick up some more red. And paint in this side. Go back over this one more time, and then we'll come back with the darker red and shade it in. You know what I think we're going to do too is actually put some gold, because I have gold in my cup. Not much, but we'll put a little bit. Alright, now I'm going to pick up the darker, the red that I added the black to. I'm just going to go along the edges so it defines, and then down here as well. Alright, now we need to do the, I guess it's the cox, no, that's probably not the coxcomb, anyway, the top of it. I'm telling you, I am rooster illiterate. Going along the edges because this is darker. And I think that'll do it. And yeah, I think we should stop there, but I definitely need to bring some of the red, not black. Some of the red needs to be brought in. To the feathers. This tends to be red. There's red feathers up into here, but below that very rarely. At least that's what I was told. Okay, so let's grab a little more yellows. feathers. So you can see, because it's mainly dry now, how much easier it is to be definitive about the strokes. Okay. Well, there you go. And I really think I like it. So in the next video, I was going to freehand a rooster tail on it, so that if you wanted it, you could do it, but I actually really like the way it looks, and I'm not going to. So I'm gonna stop. Actually, I do like the way that looks. So let's get a few of these darker feathers in here. Okay, I am going to call it quits, everyone. So I hope you enjoyed it. Again, we have a Facebook group, the Fun Home Network. If you guys want to join us, you are more than welcome. Please give me a thumbs up. And I hope you at least try this, because you could see how very easy it is. Thanks.